It's a great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, haters, addicts, and fanatics out there? This is Larry Patterson coming to you for GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports, live here on the GTSN. That's the Game Time Sports Network. And today, you're watching 32 teams in 32 days, New England Patriots edition. This team missed the playoffs for the first time last year in 11 years. 11 years. 11 years straight making the postseason. In the Belichick era, 17 seasons of making the postseason, and you get 6 championships out of it. You change quarterbacks. You had like 8 guys go out for COVID, 9 guys go out for COVID, opt out. So it was just a crazy year. They started out 2-2, lost 4 straight at one point, went 4-1 at one point during the season, and then they closed the season out. Final 4 games, going 1-3, getting a record of 7-9. The pass offense was not in existence last year. That pass offense was ranked 30th, going for 2,890 yards. That's the lowest it's been since God knows when, because every year before that, since Brady's been there, even I think the year that Matt Castle had took over when Brady went out, they were like top 10 within pass offense. And last year was a whole dynamic change to that. So maybe that gets better this year with a different quarterback. Maybe not. We'll get into the Cam situation in a minute. With the run offense, they were ranked 4th though, 2,346 yards, a heavy run game, and I think that run game will get even better this year, considering what they have, considering the quarterback what they have. I kind of see them having like a 2 quarterback system, not consistently, but in some games I do. So on third downs last year, this team was ranked 17th. On 4th downs, they were ranked 22nd, and in the red zone, they were ranked 24th. Now, you know that's not New England Patriot football, but it's a new regime, and I don't think that new regime is here to stay. I think that it's going to be something else on the horizon, especially with quarterback Mac Jones stepping up to the helm. Cam Newton went 7-8 last year. His exact numbers were 242 for 368, throwing for 2,657 yards, 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The lowest career low in passing touchdowns that he's ever had in his career. He also tacked on 137 carries for 592 yards, 12 TDs, 7 seasons running for over 500 yards. And that's including his Carolina days, of course. He had one 4,000-yard season passing. That was his rookie season. He passed for over 30 touchdowns once in his career. That was the MVP season, the year that he went to the Super Bowl. He's got a little bit of competition over there, especially in the pass game. I don't think Cam's arm is not what it used to be, and I don't think it's going to go back. I think he can still do some things with the arm, maybe the mid-range stuff, maybe the short intermediate stuff, and maybe the check downs. But other than that, I really don't see Cam like giving you that big playability unless he's using his legs. So I kind of see Mac Jones taking over, not too far from now. Key additions to this team, key departures to this team. Sony Michel was just traded like last week to the Rams for like a 6th round pick. Joe Tooney, which is a very high priced guard, he went to Kansas City. Adam Butler, I believe he went to Miami, defensive tackle. And then Terrence Brooks, free safety, who played decent last year. John Simon, linebacker. Brandon Coleman, who is a cornerback. He had a pretty solid season last year also. Shalik Calhoun, a linebacker. Demir Bird, wide receiver. Marcus Cannon, who I believe they traded Ryan Izzo, they traded away Jason McCourty. He went to a division rival, Miami, also. Key additions to this squad, Nelson Aguilar, who had a career high in receiving yards. I think it was like almost 900, and he had 8 touchdowns. Kendrick Bourne coming over from the Niners. Hunter Henry, who is currently hurt right now, was a free agent acquisition. Jonnu Smith, another free agent acquisition. Trent Brown, whom I believe they did trade for. Ted Karras, who came back, who he was with the system, and then he left and went to Miami for a year, and then he's back. Henry Anderson, who's been over, in the league with the Colts, with the Jets. Now he's coming over to the Patriots, and maybe that could boost his pass rush ability. Davon Gaucho, who also came over from Miami. Kyle Van Noy, who came back. Matt Judon came over from the Ravens. So he brings some pass rush. He brings some linebacker ability. Raekwon McMillan was an acquisition, but I think he's out for the season with a torn ACL or Achilles or something. And either way, I know he's out for the season. And then you grab cornerback Jalen Mills from Philly. And that kind of completes your key additions. A couple other additions, but not key additions. So with the defense, this team was ranked 8th in the pass, giving up 3,557 yards. In the run, they were ranked 26th, so very terrible in the run. And you see why they bring players like a Matt Judon, like a Davon Gaucho to plug up the hole, like a Kyle Van Noy, who was doing work before he had left. Now he's back. And a Henry Anderson who you can throw in the end, but he can also be good in run support also. So and then on defensively on the run, they gave up 2,103 yards. On third downs, this team was 16th on defense. Fourth downs, they were ranked 16th, and then in the red zone, they were ranked 27th. So a lot of work that needs to be done, and best believe Belichick will get it out of his boys. Let's start with the offense here. At quarterback, you got Brian Hoyer going into his 13th year, who's won multiple championships with the squad that drafted him, and has no plans on being the franchise guy, but hey, he's tacking on them championships. You can't blame the guy. Mac Jones, rookie. One thing about Mac Jones, he looks superb. He looks very good throwing that ball. And I can see him. He's more of a spread out option, spreading the ball out to these guys versus Cam. That's why I see Mac Jones kind of getting at least a couple starts this year, heading into next year, probably being the guy. Game 1, he was 13-19, throwing for 87 yards against Washington. Game 2, he was 13-19, throwing for 146 yards against Philly. And then game 3, last night, he was 10-for-14, throwing for 156 yards and a touchdown against the Giants. So those are pretty good. Granted the fact that you're not playing against the top tier number one guys, not the top tier guys, but it speaks volumes. You definitely want that, either whether it's a backup quarterback or whether it's a quarterback of the future. You drafted him 15th overall, so guess what? He's got to be the guy at some time. At some point this year, you got to see him. Cam Newton, we talked about going to year number 11. Hopefully the arm can improve. I don't really see it being, a big play, but he can still use his legs. The man rushed for 12 touchdowns last year, so he can definitely still do work with his legs. Just hope he gets down when he needs to get down to save his, all the concussions. He's got a history of all that. And then Jarrett Stidham, who came in for a game last year. It wasn't really nothing much to talk about going into year number 3. At the running back position, you got Brandon Bolden going into year number 9. You got James White going into year number 7. Jacob Johnson, who's the fullback, going into year number 3. J.J. Taylor going to year number 2. Ramondre Stevenson, who had a pretty good camp and preseason, was a rookie out of Oklahoma. And then you got Damian Harris going into year number 3, who rushed for like over 600 yards last year. It wasn't consistent, but hey, what running back? My thing is, what running back is running for over 1,000 yards in a New England Patriots system? I don't remember last time. I think maybe last time might have been. I want to say Corey Dillon, but I'm pretty sure it was somebody after that. Like I'm blanking on his name right now, but LeGarrette Blount, maybe. I had to look that up, but yeah, I can see them having some kind of system where you might look at Damian Harris and being like, man, maybe that could be the guy. But then again, Damian Harris could be the guy that gives you, a $120 one game. He might be sitting out the next game, or might not get as much carries the next game. Ramondre Stevenson might come in and give you a bunch of carries and a bunch of yards. But then the next week it could be J.J. Taylor. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that whole system goes. But I don't think that this system is going to be a one back led dynamic system. I think you got a whole multitude of weapons over there on the offensive side of the ball. Not to mention that Cam Newton will be doing work with his legs too. So you got J.J. Taylor who can do work. You got Ramondre Stevenson who showed flashes and during the preseason and during camp. And then you got Damian Harris, which what he can do. Plus you got Cam Newton. So this offense will definitely be run heavy. And I predict that it will be one of the best in the league. Maybe top 5, top 10, one of the best run attacks in this league. Remains to be seen, but that's what I predict. And I think it will happen. As far as receivers, Nelson Aguilar, he had the career high in the yards last year. He tied his career touchdowns in 8 last year with the Raiders, I believe. Kendrick Bourne, he had a career high 667 yards with San Francisco last year. He's going to year number 5. N'Keal Harry going to year number 3. We'll see what's going on with him this year. He requested trades and stuff like that. So maybe a receiver needy team could possibly pick him and he can revitalize his career because it has not worked out in New England. You got Jacoby Myers, who was the team's leading receiver last year. I believe he had 700 yards. Speedy guy, could be a help. And Trey Nixon is a rookie. You got Gunnar Olszewski, who had 5 catches for 62 yards and a touchdown. He also had 5 carries for 23 yards. He is a speedy, quick guy. He runs angry. He's using kickoff situations. He had 20 returns last year, 20 punt returns for 346 yards and a touchdown. And in kick returns, he had 18 for 418 yards. This kid, he can be used in the slot. He can be used in misdirections and reverse plays. He can be that gadget guy. So not only do you have your running backs with your running quarterback, with a young rookie quarterback that can also spread it out, but you also got a return guy who's quick and runs angry and fast and can be used in return situations and can be used in the offense too. So this team is tapped with talent all across the board. You got Matthew Slater, captain of the special teams, who's been doing this for about 14 years now. Christian Wilkerson was a rookie, and then Isaiah Zuber, who's also a rookie. At the tight end position, you got Troy Fumagalli going to his 4th year. He was a free agent coming over. Hunter Henry, who was a free agent acquisition. He's currently injured right now, and nobody really knows the timetable when he's coming back, which we kind of figured that. Hunter Henry's been kind of like a an injury bug since he's been in the league. But when he's in, he is very productive and he is very helpful. Dalton King, who was drafted last year, Matt Lacoste, who was one of the opt-outs last year, and then Jonnu Smith, who had a career high 448 yards and 8 touchdowns last year. He had a pretty big year, maybe not yards wise, but he did have the 8 touchdowns. So that was pretty good. And then you got second year player Devin Asiasi. I think he could be having a big year also, depending on who's at quarterback. He had a big game last night too. At the offensive line position, you got David Andrews going into year number 7, James Ferentz going into year number 5, Ted Karras year number 6, Marcus Martin going into year number 6, Shaq Mason going into year number 7, Mike Onwenu going into year number 2. Mike Onwenu, who really flashed last year, and maybe many thought that he was just going to be average, but I think he was pretty good as far as PFF numbers and everything. Alex Redmond going into year number 5, Trent Brown going into year number 7, Corey Cunningham, Justin Heron, Will Sherman, Isaiah Wynn going to year number 3, and then you got Yadni Kajusti going into year number 2. That is your offense for the New England Patriots. For the New England defense, on the D-line, you got Henry Anderson. Henry Anderson going into year number 7, that 3-4 defense. He had a career high in tackles in 42, coming from the Jets. Tashawn Bauer going into year number 4. Lawrence Guy going into year number 11. Nick Thurman. Chase Winovich, which is one of my guys that I'm going to be watching this year. First 2 seasons in the league, he's had 5.5 sacks in both years. So you got to definitely watching out for Chase Winovich. He's definitely going to be one of those leaders on the defense. Dietrich Wise Jr. going to year number 4. Montravius Adams going to year number 5, coming over from Green Bay. Christian Barrymore, who's a rookie. He's going to come in from Alabama, and he's coming over to add some of that strength up to the up in the D line to shore up that run defense that was really lacking last year. Byron Coward going to year number 3, Carl Davis going to year number 7, Davon Gaucho, Bill Murray, and Akeem Spence going into year number 9 for the linebacker spot. One of the more strengths for this team. Jawan Bentley going into year number 4, Therese Hall going into year number 2, Dante Hightower is back, who opted out last year. Now you get the quarterback of that defense back. Anthony Jennings, the second-year player, he had 15 blitzes last year. Matt Judon, he had 150 blitzes in 2019. He had 72 blitzes in 2020. 3 straight years of 30 pressures, 30 plus pressures. So you definitely need somebody like that coming in to help out with the pass rush ability, to help out in run support. Brandon King going to year number 7. Harvey Lange also coming over from the Jets. Cameron McGrone, who's a rookie. Raekwon McMillan, I believe, is out for the season already. Going into year number 4. Rodney Perkins is a rookie. Josh Uche, who is one of the players that I'm going to be watching also. I picked 6 because this team has kind of got a lot of talent across the board. So Josh Uche is one of them. Second-year player. He had 10 pressures and 8 blitzes in year number 1. And then Kyle Van Noy, you get him back to help out in run support also, and a little bit of pass rushing ability. In the cornerback position, you get Sean Wade, who was drafted by the Ravens, but they let him go and brought him over. New England picked him up. And what better way to bring him over, bring a rookie over anyway, into one of the better cornerback teams, cornerback groups than the Patriots, where they produce very high level talent. Ex Stephon Gilmore, ex J.C. Jackson, who in 2018 had 3 interceptions. He was targeted 45 times, 22 completions against. He had 48%. That was a little sample size. Year number 2 got a little bigger for him. He had 5 interceptions, 62 targets, 33 completions for 53 completion percentage. And in 2020 last year, which was his biggest year, he had 9 interceptions, 9 of them things. He had 83 targets, 49 completed against, a 59 completion percentage, career high 40 tackles last year. When you're talking about top corners in the league, J.C. Jackson does not get a lot of credit. He does not get a lot of talk. He does not get talked about a lot. But this year you're gonna know. You're definitely gonna know. I like J.C. Jackson though. You also got Justin Bethel. Going into year number 10, you got Miles Bryant. As I said, Stephon Gilmore, J.C. Jackson. You got Michael Jackson Sr. going into year number 2. Jonathan Jones, who had a career high tackles in 74, who's also pretty decent. He's going into year number 6. Jalen Mills also going into year number 6. D'Angelo Ross going into year number 2. D Virgin going into year number 3. And Joanne Williams going into year number 2. At the safety spot, Joshua Bledsoe going to year number 1. He's a rookie. Adrian Colbert going to year number 5. Cody Davis, year number 9. Kyle Duggar, who was he came from Lenore Ryan, one of those small colleges, but he was definitely used on special teams a lot. That's where most of his snap counts it came from. But he also did work on the defense also. So he's definitely somebody that you got to watch out for as far as depth anyway. Adrian Phillips going into year number 7, and maybe Kyle Duggan can step up this year also. I hope so anyway. Devin McCourty going into year number 12, who's still very solid in this league. Nick Folk going into year number 14. You had the Adam Vinatieri era as far as New England kickers, and then Adam Vinatieri went somewhere else. Then you had Steven Gostkowski. You had that era. Eventually that died down. Now you're in the Nick Folk era. Nick Folk was with Dallas. He was with New England. No, he was with Dallas. He was with the Jets. And now he's with New England. I believe he's with somewhere else too, but now he's with New England. Until maybe they find them the next guy to lead the regime in kickers. Quinn Norton, who's a rookie, and then Jake Bailey's 3rd-year player. He's a punter. So, yeah, that is your whole roster right there for the New England Patriots. Running down their draft class, round 1, they picked Mac Jones, who I feel really good about, quarterback out of Alabama. Then they went Alabama again with Christian Barrymore, the defensive tackle, in round 2. Round 3, they went Rodney Perkins, defensive end out of Oklahoma. Round 4, they went with Ramondre Stevenson out of Oklahoma, running back. So they went Alabama, Oklahoma. And then Cameron McGrone, linebacker out of Michigan. They picked in round 5. Round 6, Joshua Bledsoe. They picked, he was a safety out of Missouri. In round number 6, William Sherman, offensive tackle out of Colorado. And then round number 7, you picked Trey Nixon, wide receiver out of UCF at Central Florida. First 5 games for this squad, they play the Dolphins. First game of the year, so they're at home against the Dolphins. Then they're at the New York Jets, at home against New Orleans, Tampa. So Tom Brady comes back, and then you're at the Texans. So you could squeak out 3 wins, maybe 4, depending on how that whole situation goes about. And we don't know that yet. So, but with this team right here, do I see them winning a Lombardi this year? Probably not, but I do see them being very competitive. I do see them having a very heavy run game, possibly one of the best in the league. I do see them possibly using their tight ends a lot more. And depending if Mac Jones plays, I can see them spreading the ball around a little bit more, especially with those weapons. They're not flashy, sexy weapons, but they're quick and they're speedy, and it just has to work. So, and you already know the defense. Depending if they trade Stephon Gilmore, I don't know. It's just a lot between now in September 9th, when the season starts, possibly beyond that a lot of things can happen with this ball club and with whatever directions that they want to go to. This is Larry Patterson for GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports Live here on the GTSN. That's the Game Time Sports Network. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that. It's Game Time Sports Network. And then Facebook, Game Time Sports Network. Don't cost nothing to like. Let's go ahead and like that thing, man.